We have a powerful and romantic image of the great leader, the titan of industry, the world-changing genius. We picture them in constant motion. We see them commanding boardrooms, giving charismatic speeches, networking at exclusive events, their phones buzzing with 100 urgent demands. We have been taught that success is a product of relentless, visible action. The leader is the one who is always on, always connected, always in the thick of the fight. And so we try to emulate this. We fill our calendars to the breaking point. We pride ourselves on our lack of sleep. And we wear our busyness as a badge of honor, believing that this frantic activity is the price of admission to the club of the great. But what if this image is a complete illusion? What if the real work, the work that generates the genius ideas, the flawless strategies, and the unshakable power is not done in the noisy boardroom, but in a silent, empty room? What if the true secret habit of the world's greatest leaders is not their ability to act, but their discipline to withdraw from action? This is one of the most counterintuitive and closely guarded secrets of high achievement. The myth is that leaders are brilliant because they are always engaged with the world. The truth is that they are brilliant because they regularly and deliberately disengage from it. On this channel, we pull back the curtain on these hidden principles of success, decoding the timeless wisdom of spiritual masters and the scientific findings of Napoleon Hill. If you are tired of the cult of busyness and are ready to learn the real habits that create extraordinary results, then make the decision to join the inner circle and subscribe to our channel right now. Napoleon Hill, in his 20-year quest to find the formula for success, was granted access to the inner lives of the most powerful men of his era. And he discovered a pattern. While their public lives were a whirlwind of activity, their private lives all contained a secret ingredient, a scheduled, protected, and non-negotiable habit of solitude. Men like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, who revolutionized the world with their innovations, were known to spend hours by themselves in quiet contemplation, simply thinking and listening. This was not idleness. It was the most important and productive work they did. They understood that their public actions were only as good as their private clarity, and that clarity could not be found in the noise. It could only be forged in the silence. They knew that a leader who does not have a habit of being alone with their thoughts is not a leader at all. They are merely a high-level reactor, a slave to the endless demands of the outside world. What did these great leaders know that most of us don't? What happens in these periods of quiet that is so powerful? And how did the greatest spiritual leaders in history, like Jesus and the great prophets, use this exact same secret habit to access a level of power that would change the world forever? To understand this, we must first enter the laboratory of the mind and discover where breakthrough ideas are truly born. If the secret habit of the greatest leaders is solitude, the question we must ask is why? What is happening in those quiet, uninterrupted moments that is so powerful? The answer lies in understanding that our mind is not a single entity. It operates on two distinct levels. Napoleon Hill was one of the first to clearly define these two faculties, and the distinction between them is the key to all genius and innovation. The first faculty is what Hill called the synthetic imagination. This is our everyday, logical, working mind. It is incredibly useful. It takes all the information we have ever learned, our education, our experience, things we've read, and it rearranges this old knowledge into new combinations. It is the mind that creates a to-do list, that organizes a spreadsheet, that refines an existing process. It is the workhorse of our intellect. But it has one critical limitation. It cannot create anything truly new. It can only work with the building blocks it already possesses. This is the mind that operates in the noisy boardroom. But then there is a second, far more mysterious and infinitely more powerful faculty. Hill called it the creative imagination. This is not the workhorse. This is the oracle. This part of your mind does not rearrange old ideas. It receives new ones. Hill described it as the receiving set of the brain, the antenna that connects your finite mind to the infinite intelligence of the universe. It is the source of all hunches, of all flashes of inspiration, of every truly original, game-changing idea that has ever entered a human mind. This is the faculty of genius, and here is the secret. This creative imagination, this direct line to break through ideas, only functions under one condition: silence. The signal from infinite intelligence is a subtle whisper. But the noise of our everyday synthetic imagination is a constant analytical scream. The chatter of our worries, the logic of our plans, the endless processing of external data, all of this creates a wall of mental static. The whisper of genius cannot be heard over the scream of logic. The secret habit of the greatest leaders is that they understood this. Their practice of solitude was not about resting. It was a deliberate, strategic act of silencing the screaming, logical mind, so that they could finally hear the whisper of the creative one. The silent room was their laboratory. By disconnecting from the world of old information, they created the perfect sterile environment for a new, uncontaminated idea to be born. Every great prophet who received a divine vision, every great inventor who saw a world-changing device in a flash, every great artist who was struck by a moment of pure inspiration, they were all, in that moment, using their creative imagination. They had found a way to create a moment of inner and outer silence so profound that the signal could get through. This is why your best ideas rarely come to you when you're staring at your computer, trying to force a solution. They come to you in the shower, on a quiet walk, or in the moments just before you fall asleep. They come when your logical mind finally relaxes its grip, the static dies down, and the clear channel to your creative faculty is momentarily opened. The greatest leaders do not wait for these accidental moments of clarity. They engineer them. Their secret habit of solitude is the discipline of creating a clear channel on command. They know that to solve a problem that their logical mind cannot solve, they must enter the laboratory, silence the noise, and listen. So, the secret habit of solitude is the key to unlocking your inner genius and receiving breakthrough ideas. But an idea, no matter how brilliant, is just a starting point. A true leader must also be a master strategist. As it turns out, the same quiet laboratory where the idea is born is also the perfect headquarters to forge it into a flawless plan. Receiving a brilliant, game-changing idea in a flash of inspiration is a powerful experience. It is the first fruit of the secret habit of solitude. But an idea, no matter how divinely inspired, is merely a seed. A seed that is thrown onto unplowed ground will not grow. For that seed of genius to become a towering tree of success, it must be planted in the soil of a well-made plan. And as it turns out, the same quiet laboratory where the idea is born is also the perfect forge to shape that idea into a flawless and powerful strategy. This reveals the second great power of divine solitude. It is the ultimate strategy room. Think about how most people and most businesses create their plans. They do it in the midst of the noise. They plan in rushed meetings, between a flood of emails, with the phone buzzing on the table. Their strategic planning is a reactive process, often driven by the immediate pressure of a problem, rather than the calm foresight of a vision. Plans born in this environment of chaos are almost always flawed. They are short-sighted. They are reactive. They are contaminated by the fears and doubts of the moment. The greatest leaders in history understood this. They knew that you cannot draw a map while you are lost in the middle of a storm. You must first find a high, quiet place from which to see the entire landscape. For them, solitude was this high, quiet place. It was their strategic advantage. It was where they could step away from the smoke and noise of the immediate battle to see the entire war with perfect clarity. This is a direct application of one of Napoleon Hill's most critical principles: organized planning. Hill taught that a desire, no matter how intense, will remain a dream until it is converted into a definite, practical, and organized plan of action. And he emphasized that this planning process requires deep, careful, and uninterrupted thought. It requires you to anticipate obstacles, to marshal your forces, to lay out a logical sequence of steps. This level of deep strategic work is physically impossible in an environment of constant interruption. The secret habit of the leaders Hill studied was that they would retreat into solitude not just to find the idea, but to plan its execution. It was in the stillness that they could think 10 moves ahead, while their competitors were only thinking 1 move ahead. This ability to step out of the chaos to create perfect plans is not a luxury. It is a strategic necessity for anyone who wants to lead and to win. If you are ready to learn how to make better decisions and build flawless strategies for your own life, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Let us return to our case study. Jesus, after receiving the idea or the calling to start his world-changing movement, what was one of his first major strategic decisions? Choosing his core team, his 12 apostles. This was a decision that would determine the fate of his entire enterprise for the next 2,000 years. And how did he make this plan? The scripture says he spent the entire night alone on a mountainside in prayer. This was not just a spiritual act. It was the ultimate strategic planning session. In that divine solitude, he was not just receiving names from a list. He was contemplating the structure of his organization. He was weighing the strengths and weaknesses of each candidate. He was aligning his human plan with the divine blueprint. The most important organizational plan in history was forged in the perfect, uninterrupted stillness of solitude. So, the secret habit has a dual function. It is first the laboratory, where you use your creative imagination to receive the brilliant idea. And it is second the strategy room, where you use your focused, logical mind, now free from distraction, to forge that idea into an organized plan. You have now used the silence to receive a brilliant idea. You have used the stillness to forge it into a perfect plan. But there is one final crucial element that is also born only in solitude. It is the inner power, the unshakable belief that you will need to carry that plan through to its victory, no matter the opposition. You have now learned the first 2 strategic functions of the secret habit. You have used the quiet of your laboratory to receive a breakthrough idea. You have used the stillness of your strategy room to forge that idea into a perfect plan. You now possess a combination that 99% of people will never have: a brilliant idea and a solid plan to execute it. But is this enough? Napoleon Hill and every great leader in history would tell you no. Because now comes the hardest part. Now you must take that fragile blueprint out of the silent, safe laboratory of your mind and execute it in the loud, chaotic, and often skeptical real world. The moment you take your first step, you will be met with resistance. You will be met with the flaming arrows of criticism from others. You will be met with your own internal ghosts of fear and doubt. You will face unexpected setbacks and temporary defeats. A plan, no matter how perfect, is useless without the unshakable conviction to see it through. So where is this conviction, this armor of belief, forged? It is forged in the exact same place the idea and the plan were born, in the furnace of divine solitude. This is the third and most powerful function of the secret habit. It is the forge of conviction. Think of it this way. Your new idea is like a newborn baby. It is full of potential, but it is also fragile and vulnerable. If you immediately expose it to the harsh elements and the cynical opinions of the world, it will likely perish. Solitude is the incubator. It is the protected, no-doubt zone where you can nurture your fledgling belief, feeding it with positive thoughts and protecting it from the germs of negativity until it is strong enough to survive on its own in the outside world. How is this done? Through the focused and uninterrupted practice of Napoleon Hill's highest principles. Solitude is the perfect gymnasium for training your applied faith. With no one there to judge you or question you, you are free to fully immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You can visualize your success with an intensity and a vividness that is impossible when your mind is distracted. You can feel, with every fiber of your being, the reality of your goal already accomplished. This is you, feeding and nurturing your belief. Solitude is also the ultimate amplification chamber for your auto-suggestion. Napoleon Hill taught the power of speaking your decrees aloud. And there is no place more powerful to do this than in a silent room by yourself. When you speak your affirmations of success into the stillness, the words don't just dissipate. They echo, they reverberate. You speak them, and your own ears hear them, creating a powerful neurological feedback loop that drives the command deep into your subconscious mind. This is you, hammering the hot iron of your belief into the shape of an unbreakable sword. This is what was happening during the 40 days Jesus spent in the wilderness. It was not a period of passive waiting. It was his ultimate training camp. It was where he confronted his deepest doubts and temptations, and where he forged the conviction that would sustain him through his entire mission. The scripture says he returned from that period of solitude in the power of the Spirit. He went into the forge as a man with a mission. He came out as a sharpened weapon, ready for any battle. So the secret habit of solitude is a complete three-part system for creation. It is the laboratory where the idea is received. It is the strategy room where the plan is forged. And it is the gymnasium where the conviction to execute that plan is built. It is the complete A to Z process for turning nothing into something. Now that we understand the full, immense power of this habit, the only thing that remains is to learn how to integrate it into our own busy lives. What is the practical manual for beginning this life-changing practice? That is our final step. We have now pulled back the curtain and revealed the secret habit in its entirety. We understand that divine solitude is not a passive state, but an active, three-part engine for creation. It is the laboratory for breakthrough ideas, the strategy room for perfect plans, and the forge for unshakable conviction. The knowledge is now yours, but knowledge alone does not change a life. The final and most important step is to take this secret and make it your own. To transform this knowledge into a non-negotiable daily practice, this chapter is your practical manual. It is a simple guide to installing this secret habit into your own life, starting tomorrow morning. First, you must stake your claim on the silence. The noisy world will fight for every second of your attention. If you do not deliberately claim a piece of the day for yourself, the world will claim all of it. Therefore, your first action is to open your calendar right now and schedule an appointment with your own genius. Block out 15 to 30 minutes every single morning. Title it Strategy Meeting or My Solitude Session. This is your most important appointment of the day. It is non-negotiable. And during this time, the rule is absolute: no technology. No phone, no computer, no television. Just you, a notebook, and the silence. Second, you must define your intention for the silence. This is not a time for daydreaming. It is a time for focused, purposeful work. Before you begin your session, decide which of the three powers of solitude you will engage. Are you in the idea phase, seeking a breakthrough? Then your intention is to use your creative imagination. Are you in the planning phase? Then your intention is to use your focused mind for organized planning. Are you in the belief phase, needing to build your inner strength? Then your intention is to practice applied faith. Having a clear intention for your session focuses your mental energy and makes the practice infinitely more powerful. Third, you must do the work of listening. The practice itself is a process of release, asking, and receiving. Begin your session by releasing all the mental noise. Write down your worries and to-do lists to clear your mind. Then ask. Present your intention, your definite purpose, or your single guiding question to infinite intelligence. And finally, and most importantly, you listen. You sit in a state of calm, expectant silence. You become the watcher of your own mind, ready with your notebook to capture the quiet whisper of intuition, the flash of a new idea, the outline of a perfect plan. This simple habit is the true work of a leader. It is the unseen cause behind the seen success. This is the path to a life of quiet power and clear guidance. If you are committed to this path of leading from the quiet and becoming the source of your own success, then make sure you are subscribed and a full member of our community. The world will continue to get louder. It will offer you the easy drug of constant distraction. The great leader refuses. They understand that their empire is built not in the noise of the crowd, but in the fertile silence of their own mind. The choice is yours. Will you be a slave to the noise, or will you become a master of the silence? The secret is out. Your laboratory is waiting. Your strategy room is ready. Your forge is hot. The silence is calling.